Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check this out. We've got Stuart Alderati from the Ripple legal team, Hester Peirce this morning, Brad Garlinghouse from the World Economic Forum, and there's a lot to go along with it. Also talking about the US Terra collapse. We're going to get into that. We got Jeremy Allaire. You're going to want every single bit of that. And how about this? Did we just get a glimpse of a $10,000 XRP and how it gets there? I think so, but I'm interested to hear what you think. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at Dig Perspectives at the top of the screen and everything that we're talking about here today. Give us a follow on TikTok at Digital Perspectives, no spaces, growing like fire over there. $1.3 trillion this morning for the crypto market cap. Good morning, everybody. It's May 24th, 2022. We're off by 4.2%. Ask me if I'm still excited about crypto. The answer is you better believe it. Damn right. Not financial advice. Right now, Bitcoin 29,200 plus and Ethereum 1,900 plus. XRP is 40 cents this morning. That's right. And I believe we got a glimpse at how XRP can be $10,000 plus. And we're going to take a look at that today. 40 cents on the bottom, 43 on the top. The trading range has opened up slightly here from yesterday, but let's take a look at this. Let me tell you what. I was at a meetup last night at the Washington National Stadium with Linqto members, Nick Burafedo, Ray Fuentes, Susan Miller, and everyone else, and Brianna as well. It was a pleasure to meet you as well. And I tell you, some of the finest people I have ever met are Linqto members. And I'm always just taken back by how incredibly smart and insightful they are. And I'd love to hear them share their points of view. And I'm just going to name a few of you. And I know there's so many there. I remember all of you, but I don't remember everyone's names. But Kiami, I think I'm saying his name right, Sani, and Janetta, it was such a pleasure to meet you. Gregory, oh my God, I had such great talk with him. The legend Mark Phillips, it was amazing to meet you, Mark. And David and RJ and so many other people. And I know I'm not going to remember all of your names, but I do remember your faces in our conversations, and I can't wait to meet up again. But this week it continues. Invest in Ripple today and receive $1,000 worth of XRP for each order. Orders must be received by 11:59 Pacific time tonight, May 24th. You must qualify as an accredited investor in your country. Remember, in other countries, like there's plenty of countries in the Middle East that do not have any requirements for that. And by the way, I found out last night in the meeting, if you are not accredited, I tell you, I would download that app and make sure I'm registered, because they are working on some incredible opportunities for every single person to have an opportunity to invest in some of the products offered. They are looking to do some amazing things at Linqto. Don't mess around. I'm telling you, this is a really, really great opportunities that are coming. Take a look at this right here. This is Mike Novogratz. Not a big fan. I'm being polite, but Mark Phillips shares here. This is rich. Apparently the Novogratz reputation rehab tour has started. Instead of saying investors should only invest what they're willing to lose, how about not shilling a Ponzi scheme and selling out before the collapse? How about that one? Crypto billionaire Novogratz breaks his silence on Luna and says it's just a big idea that failed. Oh boy, that's a good one, Mark. Looking right here, Stuart Alderati from the Ripple legal team gives a nod here to the Wall Street Journal for covering it. It's about the SEC that really got denied the idea that they could sue the investor with the judges inside of the SEC. It was ruled unconstitutional. Stuart Alderati gives a nod here and says the SEC isn't used to losing cases, since defendants often settle to avoid expense and hassle of litigation. Yeah, credit to the defendant for fighting back, Jarsky, there on that case. And yeah, credit to him for sure, because SEC has turned out to be just one massive schoolyard bully. Take a look here. This is Hester Peirce, who's not a bully, and she's a huge advocate for getting clarity, and her courage level is just like beyond all that I've even encountered. Shout out to you, Hester. Honestly, this is her remarks. I want to give this to you. I have the time marker. It's not the entire thing, but you do want to hear her remarks here where she is talking about crypto. It hits us at this point. Let me get it set up.
Welcome. So you know the
One
issue.
second.
Really put it off.
And it's right here. Here we go.
I'm not sure if you do have the time to really put it off, and that is regulation of cryptocurrency, or perhaps more specifically stablecoins, given what we saw just last week. Where does that sit from your point of view? What should the SEC be doing and when?
I think you're right to focus on that. Crypto is an area where I've been calling for us to take steps to regulate the market, to put out clear rules around what people need to do. Stable coins may or may not be within our bailiwick. Of course, facts and circumstances matter, but it's something that Congress has been looking at, and so Congress may well weigh in, and I think the events of last week are likely to encourage them to work more quickly on it.
You're one member of the commission, but an important member of the commission. From your point of view, though, personally, though, do you have a sense of the jurisdictional divisions, for example, between the SEC on the one hand and CFTC on the other when it comes to cryptocurrency stablecoins?
Well, I think some of those things are unclear, and so that's why congressional input would be quite helpful. There are certainly areas where we should be acting, where our regulated entities, broker-dealers, for example, investment advisors want to interact with crypto, and that's somewhere where we could be providing regulatory clarity.
I think she's really politely acknowledging that, obviously what she said, whether stable coins are in her the bailiwick of the SEC, really puts us in the place where I think we really are right now, right? First of all, I cannot understand for the life of me why the SEC has not adopted the safe harbor rule for this space. I mean, I guess I'm not completely naive. I mean, they miss an opportunity for a lot of money and a lot of enforcement if they adopt the safe harbor rule now, don't they? That's another key point there. So in this, I have to say, the Treasury, I believe, is going to come out and rule on stable coins in custody. And I go on further to say, because, remember, US Terra just collapsed. I think we all know that one. But, US Tether has been in the crosshairs for quite some time. I just quickly want to say, it's important for us to watch what happens here, because I think we're moving to a place where we see all this private stablecoin money, and everybody's so concerned whether it's one-to-one or a surplus, which is a major concern. But I think the bigger concern is we're moving into a phase where it will be that you have to be licensed and given or awarded a license, and then you're going to have to follow this heightened regulatory set of provisions, right, where the reserves are monitored by FDIC or some other agency, right? But the point I'm making here is I believe we're quickly moving to a place where stable coins, if you are not licensed or otherwise really let into the fray, into the regulatory framework, you're going to really be considered counterfeit money, digital counterfeit money. I think that's where we're moving to. We'll see what happens here. Moving very quickly here, this is from the World Economic Forum, and we have got a lot for you. You're going to want every single bit of it. And I think in this, we get a very, very quick glimpse and how we could see XRP really find its way to that $10,000 plus figure that we've all talked about so often. This here from Leonidas, the Georgian Prime Minister offered the CEO of Ripple to open a corporate service center in Georgia, and noted that Georgia has a favorable investment environment and the country has a stable location. Very interesting, the expansion. Here's more great talks with them, you could see, and it's Monica Long sitting beside Brad Garlinghouse. And here is another panel here with Brad Garlinghouse and none other than Jeremy Allaire from Circle Pay with USD Coin. Now, I think this is a really, really interesting pairing here, and we're going to get more into that in just a second here. What I have here, courtesy of DAI, is a quick interview here from CNBC while at World Economic Forum. Listen to what goes on in this, and then I have some information for us to check out right after. Take a listen.
Well, I have a couple of reactions. One is, in some ways, she's in good company. There's others like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger who've made derogatory comments. But not that long ago, Jamie Dimon, someone who said they thought Bitcoin was, I think, a fraud, and has subsequently come around and realized that, in my judgment, this is an industry that is not going away. It's valued today at about $1.2, $1.3 trillion. But I do think, and I've spoken to Christine Lagarde personally, and I think we need to stop measuring it just by what's going on with the overall value and how are these assets being used to solve real world problems. And I think time and time again, we're seeing more and more real use cases solving real scaled problems where blockchain technologies can reduce friction measured by cost and speed in a way that I think improves the overall economy.
Just very quickly, and what did Christine Lagarde say recently? Now that she is not the IMF director anymore, she's now the European Central Bank president representing the 27 nations of the European Union. How about that one? Yeah, well, what she said is that she poured cold water on crypto, claiming that it's worth nothing, right? But let's get back to the interview here. Just know that that's what they're really discussing here. And he talked to her about use case utility, basically discussing value protocols that can really help the system, the financial system.
The fact that these 19,000 cryptocurrencies have been largely used as speculative assets do damage to the underlying case that you're arguing for?
I think absolutely yes. And it's frustrating. You know, I said when there were about 2,000, so as you said correctly, there's about 19,000 today. When there were at 2,000, I got some heat from the crypto market by saying that something like 99% of them I thought would go to zero. And that wasn't a popular statement, suggesting that only 20 would be around. Well, now you have 19,000. You know, my prediction, at least for now, has been moved the wrong direction. But, you know, there are some tokens out there that I think are focused on solving a problem. And those are ones that I can see being used in the future. And we could give a number of different examples. Some of them are present here in Davos. But there's also ones that I look at, I hear the description, and I don't get it. And I think that there is risk, as Christine Lagarde commented. They are speculative, they are risky, but that doesn't mean there isn't real opportunity.
Brad, I find this conversation refreshing. We've spoken to so many crypto experts out there who know nothing about this and who just want the gamification of it. They just want to encourage people into various Ponzi schemes. I hear what you're saying. We're great fans of what blockchain technology can do, but just to categorically say, you think most of these products are just going to disappear and investors are going to lose their money over the coming years?
I think there's a high risk that, well, certainly when you say most, meaning more than 50%, I think there's a high risk that most of this fails.
Now, how many fiat currencies in the world are there? About 180?
Yeah. Look, there is clearly examples where these can be used. What Ripple is doing with our digital asset that we use in our technology stack called XRP is solving a cross-border payments problem. And that cross-border payments problem we all have experienced. When you're moving money cross borders, it is slow and it is typically expensive. There's no reason we can't use these technologies to solve that problem.
I hear you. And do you know what? I think more regulation, better, then we can all know what we're trading with. Why don't you want more regulation on XRP? Why are you in a big fight with SEC's Gary Gensler that's just going on and on?
Well, it is going on, and that's frustrating. Gary Gensler was quoted as saying that justice delayed is justice denied, yet at every turn the SEC has been slowing this one down. Look, we were the ones advocating for years that we needed regulatory clarity in the United States. And then for the SEC to say, hey, even though it's not clear, we're going to bring a civil lawsuit saying that XRP is a security, we find to be a bit ironic. I'm actually advocating for regulatory clarity. I've been
not for XRP to be a security.
I think most crypto assets are not securities, and I think they are clearly commodities, and they are regulated. I mean, when people say, as Gary Gensler has said, this is the Wild West, that is not true. We're a regulated company by many different regulatory bodies today, and outside the United States, you have the regulatory clarity.
Well, there you have it right there. What a great back and forth there with Brad Garlinghouse, and shout out to him. And now let's take a look at this, because this is a quick clip at like a little after gathering here where he's talking with Lou Kerner here about the collapse of US Terra. Take a listen to this. Now, while you're listening to all of this and taking all of this in, understand that the US Securities Exchange Commission is suing Ripple over XRP being a security, right? But yet they're at this World Economic Forum, which obviously not a fan of the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab, but nevertheless, there are a lot of world leaders there that go there to really determine what is going to be happening in the future to keep developing the world. Some things I care for, some things I don't. But nevertheless, listen to what Brad says here about the U.S. Terra collapse based on Lou Kerner's thoughts. Listen.
Putting it in context, I'm going to give Lou credit. He said something to me before we started talking. Some people are calling the Luna overall debacle a Ponzi scheme. And he said something I thought was actually really insightful, which is it's not a Ponzi scheme. And it's not a Ponzi scheme because he did exactly what he said he was going to do. A Ponzi scheme is when you're lying about what you're doing. And you're running a pyramid scheme, but you're lying. The whole UST Luna experience, he published a white paper, said, here's what I'm going to do, and then he went and did it. So, look, my general view of what happened the last couple weeks, clearly we've been through some market resets over time. I view it as probably net good for the industry in the long haul, but certainly painful in the short.
There you go. There you go. Painful in the short, but good for the long haul. Well, that takes us to this. This is Jeremy Allaire. And remember when Brad Garlinghouse just said in the interview on CNBC that there were other projects there that have use case too. Well, Jeremy Allaire mentioned scaling USD coin with companies like Brad Garlinghouse's company, Ripple. Here's a longer clip that we have for you, courtesy of Jack the Rippler here. Take a listen.
Requirements that emerge, but we have to preserve digital cash. That has to work on the open internet. It has to work interoperably with anyone, anywhere. That's how we're going to solve this problem. And I think we're really close. I mean, USDC itself we've seen over $3.5 trillion of transactions.
$3.5 trillion in transactions. And he says, I think we're really close because we're working on interoperability with anyone. Who else is working on that?
Directly on the internet, between counterparties. And so if we can, improve it with more scalable blockchain technologies like Brad's company provides, and we can make this extremely low cost to move, and then enable individuals with digital wallets that can interact, and you can scale into the risk, right? Is the way I like to think of it. But at a base layer, if you want to solve for this problem, governments have to accept that people want digital cash. That is a product that they want. And from a remittance perspective, that's critical. If you want to educate someone and say, hey, you should do this digitally, they want to know, is this as good as cash? Can someone turn it off? Can they turn it off? Is it as good as what I get when I get cash? And I think we need to answer that question definitively as a society if we want to solve this remittance problem.
Absolutely. But I want you to listen now because we're going to take a look at what I believe is a very, very brief and quick glimpse into how XRP can achieve these extremely high prices. Again, not financial advice, but these are things that just fascinate me. Take a listen.
Requirements that emerge, but we have to preserve digital cash. That has to work on the open internet. It has to work interoperably with anyone, anywhere. That's how we're going to solve this problem. And I think we're really close. I mean, USDC itself we've seen over $3.5 trillion of transactions directly on the internet. Directly
on the internet. $3.5 trillion. This is an article from Mark Phillips, who was at the Linqto meetup last night and is a legend as far as I'm concerned. Wrote this incredible piece about XRP was designed for $10,000, citing a set of comments and remarks by one of the creators, Arthur Brito. But what I want to take you to is a part in this because we're talking about Jeremy Allaire recently, just a day or so ago, talking about partnering with someone like Ripple for that interoperability in order to scale into the risk, as he says. And remember, they've already done $3.5 trillion worth of transactions with USD coin. Now, I want you to imagine for a second when I talk about liquidity here is how you need liquidity, like $3.5 trillion worth of transactions now tapped in and partnered and interoperable with the XRP ledger. He says here in this article again from 2019, what is problematic, however, is that this price movement was driven by relatively small retail investments. To move value on the scale of Swift's $5 trillion of daily transactions requires much more liquidity than is available in today's XRP pool. That's still relevant today. If some 45 billion XRP are available, this would require a price of approximately $111 per XRP. We know that some of the XRP supply has been burned or lost via lost private keys, and a much larger percentage is probably locked up as long-term investors hold XRP. Thus, an even smaller supply of XRP requires an even higher price to provide the minimum liquidity to accommodate SWIFT in the daily transactions of 5 trillion a day. This problem compounds when XRP's other use cases are factored in. International remittances like MoneyGram at that time, no longer, but obviously I see it coming back into play. Retail payments, credit cards, and institutional retirement investments such as Grayscale, Morgan Creek Capital will drive demand for liquidity. Fortunately, this added demand will also drive the price, which will provide the liquidity. In fact, this creates a virtuous circle in which demand increases price and which increases liquidity and demand. So how high can this go? If the entire 1.14 quadrillion value of all asset classes was tokenized via XRP, that would require at least an $11,400 per XRP. This isn't likely to happen, but it demonstrates the scale of liquidity that XRP is designed to handle. And that is how I believe we look at what Jeremy Allaire said and imagine once this case is over and we have some clarity to move forward. Jeremy Allaire is obviously saying that if they were to partner up with Brad and Ripple and the XRP ledger and be able to tap into that interoperability and quickly and easy, in a more easy fashion, be able to facilitate the movement and use of that $3 trillion worth of transactions of USD coin, I think you could see a glimpse of just exactly how XRP could make its way to a $10,000 plus XRP. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. That's where we are on this day. Make sure you leave a comment below. I'm excited to see what you say on this one here. XRP's 42 cents. I'll catch all of you on the next one.